introduce yourself.
Yeah, okay. Hi, I'm Lexy Baird. Who am I? That's the question. So I guess right now my job title is Sustainable Gardener. So during the work hours, I go to a farm and I do all the farm things, but I also process all the vegetables and ship vegetables out. I love preserving, so that's a big part of what I do is canning and like dehydrating, but that's like my full-time job. I have 2 other jobs just for funzies, I guess, which is like too much work, but that's okay.
You're young. You can handle multiple jobs.
That's what I tell myself. Like, it'll be fine. So on Sundays, I work for Randy Marchesek at Twin Brook Dairy, and I pasteurize milk. So that's fun. It's at the Millie's Works, which is in Homestead. So they share the facility, and so it's like big
Millie's ice cream.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like big vats of stainless steel that like I get to watch the temperature and like make sure it's all safe, and so that's fun. And then occasionally, I guess, I do workshops at Phipps. So
what type of workshops?
It's usually preservation. I've been doing a lot of canning. I do jam, salsa, tomato stuff. I do stuff with homegrown because my friend Jasmine Pope works there, and yeah.
Jasmine, I saw her with you at PASA.
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. So wow, that is a lot, and I thought I was just interviewing you about one amazing thing that you do, and that's the Sustainable Gardener. But
yeah.
The dairy thing sounds really interesting, and the Phipps thing sounds really interesting too. But let's back up and start with the Sustainable Gardener. Now, how did you get this job? Tell me more about that job.
Yeah. Okay. Let's think. So when I was in grad school, so I went to the food studies program at Chatham. As most of us, I think we have a good network. And so Dr. Alice Julier was, sending us all these emails come thesis writing time, and all of us were like, we need a job. And so one of them was this position that was like with 3 other positions on the list. Like someone over here was looking for part-time like vegetable processing, and then there was this one, and it was like listed as a landscape position, and I was like, I can do that. I can mow some grass, like I can clean some hedges and like make things look beautiful. But I emailed them and I was like, hey, do you have anything else? Like, just shooting my shot. I didn't know who I was emailing. And they were actually like, yeah, actually, we're looking for a vegetable gardener to replace the one that was here. And I was like, what is this miraculous, like, serendipitous thing? And so I just, emailed them and had to go through many channels to be the person hired for this position. But, yeah, that's about it.
So tell me about the place. You can't, and this is the weird thing. It is a private residence.
Yes.
So
thanks for clarifying
explain that because it sounds like, this is the landscaping, like you're going to mow someone's lawn, and then vegetable gardening, you're going to grow there. But this is actually like an official professional job. Mm-hmm. You're salaried. You're on a payroll, but it is at someone's. So
yes,
explain that.
Yeah. So it's a private residence. It's 80 acres. It's huge.
80 acres. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what I do is the vegetable stuff and some fruit stuff. I don't know a lot about like fruit trees and stuff, so that's stuff I'm trying to learn more about. But the property's beautiful. There's like this garden. The people are very into English gardens, and so the style is just like hedgerows and roses, and it's whimsical. That's what my coworker likes to call it, and it really is. It's beautiful. But then there's also like a barn with cows and donkeys and chickens, and so we've got a lot of animals, and
wow,
that's something that like a couple people collectively take care of, and it's not for meat or anything. They're just there to be taken care of because there's space to rotate them, rotationally graze them. But then there's my position, and I'm the only person who does vegetable stuff. There's a enclosed acre, and when I started, it was like nothing. Like, there were some bushes of elderberries and a row of raspberries, and it was very messy. And there's a hoop house, so that's nice. But since I started, which was in October 2022, it's like night and day, because I have found that I love growing, and I've put into the work to make it a beautiful space that is abundant, and it's really nice. I learned so much along the way too, so it's been really fun. The job is great. The people I work with, my coworkers, they're all great, and everyone has a different role. There's like 7 of us at the farm, because it's so vast, and there's a lot to take care of. Yeah, that's about it.
So the cows and the chickens, do they eat the eggs? Do they milk the cow? That sort of thing?
That's a good question. So the cows originally were for meat, but they were grass-fed, and however they were processed was not a way that they didn't, like, the family didn't really care for. Don't know how. This is like a myth.
So like past cows were treated poorly, and so the family was like, nah.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Which is like since changed. Like, the people who work here now, like, we all care about animals and care about animal welfare and like giving them a good life, because now we know, well, it wouldn't matter if they were for meat or not. We just care about treating them well and giving them a good life.
Well, you said process, though. You meant when they were slaughtered, right?
Yes.
They were not slaughtered properly. Okay, that's what I thought you meant.
And like flavor was also a factor, and like, so there were just many things that this is all down the grapevine too.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, gotcha.
And
yeah,
the cows are
take
still
a
there.
long time.
Yeah.
Too. So the same cows, they decided, no, you get a pass. You get to live for your whole life out here in this beautiful.
Yep. Which I'm like, that's fine. If you want it to be a sanctuary, like, that's great. You know.
Yeah.
The cows need a place to be.
So you've got your 80 acres. You've got 1 acre that you have fenced in, and you're growing in there. And is the hoop house included in that, or is that also? Oh, that's within the 1 acre. I mean, that's a lot of land. What sort of things do you grow? And how did you even start? When you get there, you're like, there's some elderberries, and like, and so many questions. And what was your directive from the residents, owners, your bosses? Is it a family? I mean. I know I don't want to get. I mean, like, how many people are you growing food for?
Yeah. Yes.
Tell me more, Lexy.
Yeah, logistics.
Tell me more. Yeah.
These are all great questions. I guess my sole purpose is to grow food for like the new nuclear family, I guess. And so we had a new coworker come in. He's doing he was a construction worker before, and so he is building a lot of stuff, which is really nice, because I don't have the skills. I found blueprints for a wash station, and I was like, please build me a wash station. And so that's what he's doing. He was like, oh, so your role is basically to be like a CSA for these people. And I'm like, yes, they're not always here. Sometimes they're at other homes in other parts of the country. And so usually every summer my role is to just grow the things that I know that they like, which is from a list that we talked about when I first started, and hope for the best. When I send a box, it's kind of a crapshoot, and I'm like, here, I'll throw in a variety of like whatever I have, and it's never been received poorly.
You've never gotten feedback from that, negative feedback from that?
Correct.
Do you get positive feedback?
Sometimes there's no feedback.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you have to ship it to wherever their vacation home is?
Yeah. It just depends on wherever they're at. I'll ask, like, there's a woman at my job who, I guess, the property here, who takes care of the house and like makes sure it's clean and does laundry, and like she just does all the housekeeping. But she knows the other people who travel with the family, and so she can contact them and be like, hey, where are you at? Lexy wants to know who and where she should send this box of produce. And so usually I'll do that every other week, at least throughout the summer when I have a lot of stuff. So, yeah.
So your job is year-round?
Yes, yes.
So you're growing on an acre, and that's a lot of produce.
Yeah.
And I don't know how big the family is, but where else does the food go? There must be more food.
Yeah. So I guess to kind of paint a picture of scale first.
Okay.
We have our acre, which is a big rectangle. And
as everyone likes their acres to be.
Yes.
Flat, square.
And as opposed to like through a forest or something. It's not. Big open 1 acre. And I think about it in quadrants. So quadrant 1, top right, that's got the hoop house and 10 rows of 30-ish feet. And then there's walkways in between. So that's 1 quadrant. And then quadrant 2, I guess, has like 15 rows that are 28 feet. And all of these I made just based on how the landscape is, because it is on a slope. And
it is slopey, okay.
It's not too bad, but most of it's flat. And then, so that's 1 quadrant, or quadrant 2. Quadrant 3 has the elderberries, no broken ground yet, and we covered it in some leaves from leaf cleanup in the fall to get that nourished for next year. And then quadrant 4 I call the perennial zone, and so I put in some blueberries, I put in asparagus, there's some raspberries that I'm probably going to replace, there's some blackberries, and then I have my potato beds and the soon-to-be wash station. And so visually, I guess, quadrant 4 is taken care of. It's all perennial stuff. I just need to weed it and harvest and general maintenance. It's not that taxing. One of the quadrants doesn't have anything yet. So realistically, the things that I'm growing is only half of it, and even within the half of it, there's still empty space. So visually, it's not as much as it sounds, I guess. Not that it's not a lot, but
this is only your second season, to be fair.
Yes.
Right.
So that's picture painted, right? Maybe. Feedback I guess I've gotten, they love celeriac, celery root. So I'm growing that.
That's a wacky one. To be a primary one.
Yeah. And the reason why is because I sent them a lot of celery last year, and they were like, no. Thank you. Celery's great, but I'd rather have the root for stuff. So I'm like, okay, switch gears on that. I have everything. I feel like I'm starting some watermelon. I companion plant everything, so there's a lot. There's 1 million radishes. I'm doing a bunch of different kinds of squash, both winter and summer squash. I do a lot of research to try to bring in, one, I care about the seed companies that, their money is being used to purchase from. So I do that research and try to find, cool, interesting stuff that I would love to grow, but that they might not necessarily have tried, which is cool. Last year I grew a couple, dent corn, and they were like, what do we even do with this? I'm used to having sweet corn, and I was like, oh, we can turn it into many things. We can mill it, we can make some grits, we can make some tortillas.
Hominy? The big kernels?
Yes, that can be if you process it the proper way, then you can create hominy and then get other things. But yeah, so I'm just growing normal things. Tomatoes, squash, peppers, cucumbers,
carrots, radishes, gotcha.
Mm-hmm. So I have a good variety of stuff, but I'm trying to focus in on each of those varieties and find cool things from good companies to just throw in the bunch.
Well, no, I'm curious about So when you came onto this job, there's so many questions because this is such an unusual situation. So you came into this job. What, if you can tell me, I don't know if you can talk about what their what was in their head, but what was their motivation for hiring you as the gardener?
I don't think I know the answer to that, and I never really have. But they have had a vegetable garden there for at least 15 years. And so I know, like, Alice Julier told me in the past that people from our program have been the vegetable gardener there. So I think there's a relationship there with them in Chatham to be like, who do you know and trust that can grow produce for us?
I think I know who the first one might have been.
Yeah. I don't know.
I guess my is their motivation, like, do you provide all of their food, all of their nutrients? And do they want organic? Are they interested in the heirloom? Are they interested in preservation of heirloom seeds and that sort of thing? Like that kind of, what makes them want to have a full-time sustainable gardener?
Yeah, I think part of it is definitely fresh produce that they like know and trust where it's come from. And granted, it's like only throughout the summer will I be sending things. Usually they come in the fall and I'll have like my fall produce, like sweet potatoes and spinach, and like the potatoes are cured, the onions are cured. Like I'll just be like, here, you're here, have it, hope they cook with it. So I guess that's the first part. I feel like there's not a lot of focus on my position in their brains of like being a sole provider for their food. So they still definitely go to the grocery store and like have other things. I guess the thought of it being like a CSA is the most accurate, because like even if you get a small CSA box, it's not going to be everything that you're going to eat throughout the week. Like you're still going to need additional things. So I think of it like that, but I do garden organically. That is something that they care about. And so, I mean, I've also never gardened in a way that wasn't organic. So the way that I know is it would just fit perfectly, I guess. I'm not like going to grab the Roundup, even though I know there's poison ivy in the raspberries. It's fine, you know.
It's fine.
Luckily, knock on wood, I haven't gotten poison ivy at all. So
wood on my pencil.
Oh, not in hand.
I do not have a wood hand. Pencil's always handy though.
Yeah. Yeah. So organic, yes. Heirloom seeds and stuff.
Do they have that deep interest in that part of the food system, or is that coming just from you?
I think that's more likely the case, that it's coming from me.
Gotcha.
Because nobody in the past in this position really did a lot of seed saving, and like I guess was like grandfathered into a box of seeds, and it was all like Baker Creek and Johnny's, and I was like, we're gonna change that.
Not bad.
They're
both
but
good seed companies.
There's other
who may someday sponsor this podcast. Just saying.
Yes.
Just kidding.
No, that's exciting.
But like Southern Exposure and
yeah. So
you want to name drop some other seed companies?
True Love Seeds.
True Love. Nice.
Yeah, I heard about them from Jazz. They do a lot of like African diaspora seeds and other like POC seeds. Native Seed Search is a southwestern seed saving organization, but they also sell some of their seeds, and that's fun to like, I don't know, see like tepary beans. I've only ever read the word, but I have some, and I'm like, that's cool. I want to try to grow that here, even though it's not necessarily the right climate. And I get a lot of MI Gardner. It's like in Michigan. And what are some other ones? Obviously, Southern Exposure Seed Exchange, and I go to like Renee's Garden and High Mowing for like bulk stuff, Fruition seeds, they're more on the radar now. They're in New York, I believe.
Cool.
Yeah, seeds.
That's lots of seeds. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Got the seeds covered. So you mentioned you harvested honey yesterday.
Oh,
so you do the bees as well.
Yeah.
And did they had hives when you started?
Yeah. So at the property, there are their hives, and then there is another group of hives that a guy who lives in the area takes care of, and his name's Joe, and he has Country Barn Farms. He raises queen bees, and so he has a group of bees that he keeps at the property to like just ensure that if something happens to his farm, like there's still bees available.
So they're distant enough so that he has different environment for them.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, just for safekeeping. And so he has been the, like, I guess, maintainer of our hives throughout, I don't even know how long they've had them. So not last winter, 2 winters ago, the winter that I started, I did a class with him that was just like a beekeeping 101 kind of thing. And then anytime
As part of your job?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
cool.
Because they love honey, and they don't eat a lot of like processed sugar, and so they'll use it for any kind of eating and baking and stuff. So honey's a really big thing. But yeah, so the bees were there, and I took this class, and then anytime he would come out and take care of his bees, he'd be like, hey, do you want me to come and check on the bees? And so it was kind of like I would be there with him, and he would teach me the things that he was doing and why, and like throughout the season, what things you need to do during certain months. And so yeah, I've taken that role on, and it's really fun. I am definitely learning a lot, and it's like a years long thing that you just have to be patient, I guess.
You evolve your skills as a beekeeper over time. Yeah.
And then it also changes with like the hives you have. And 2 of our hives are great this year, but last year they were all great, but then one of them got sick, and then now this year one of them's queen, like they swarmed. And so there's just constant fluctuations in how they behave. Behave. And yeah, so I harvested honey. We do a spring and a fall harvest, and this spring I didn't take as much because one of the hives was not producing as much. But all in all, we got about 5 gallons. And for bee people, I guess, I took from maybe 25 frames, and we have 3 hives and like at least 3 times that. So the fall harvest will be huge, and that's exciting. Like last fall we had 15 gallons of honey.
Wow.
Yeah. So it just it lasts.
And what did you just harvest today?
5 gallons.
5 gallons.
Yeah.
So it's kind of on par for the 15, but it might be even more.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm not the kind of person who's like, we're gonna harvest for honey and that be the reason why, I guess. Like, we have them as pollinators, and like
bonus.
Yeah.
There's honey.
That's
awesome.
Yeah. And like I want them to have enough for the winter, and like they have their own ecosystem that we have to be mindful of. So
Yep. That's a good beekeeper there. Yeah. So what happens with the rest of the food that you grow? Yeah.
I forgot about that part. So last year there was only 1 quadrant operable, I guess, before I broke ground in the 2nd quadrant. So thinking about it logically, there really wasn't a whole lot, I guess. So I would send stuff every other week, and then at work there were 8 of us at that point in time, and I would text everyone and be like, here's what we have available this week, because as a human, first and foremost, I want to feed the people around me. And so that wasn't anything that I had to get clearance about. It just was like, if you have extra stuff, give it away, donate it. And so
donating it to staff is absolutely viable.
That is what I will gladly do, and then figure out what to do with stuff. Before I got this job, I worked at the food bank farm up at Chatham, which no longer exists. But I was the person who contacted different places to send produce donations that were, as well as the food bank. And so that is experience I have, but I feel like next year I'll probably have to tap into that, I guess, network. Food just goes to everyone, and whatever.
You don't have a problem distributing the food in your...
Yeah, to everyone around me. And I also do process it. So, like, if there is excess of something that is not fresh, or if it is fresh and there's excess and people are just like, I'm really over the tomatoes, like, which, never.
How does that ever happen?
That's never happened.
That is shocked face you saw.
There always comes a point in the season when I have had too many and my mouth is like, acid, please stop.
Somebody from Chatham Food Studies, I remember I went to a potluck after I graduated, so it was something that somebody who wasn't in my class, and they made a pickled tomato.
Oh, that sounds great.
That was the best thing I'd ever eaten. It was a red tomato that had been pickled in a brine.
Yeah.
And I was like,
what?
That had such a good funk to it, and I could not figure out who made it and how it was so freaking good.
Oh, that sounds... I gotta try that.
I don't think I will ever have anything like it again, because it was. Sometimes you have like a pickle, and it's just like that one perfect, time and temperature and environment and bacteria, and that just makes that flavor so cool.
Yeah.
And then you'll never get it again.
It's hard to recreate.
It really is hard to recreate all those perfect. Anyway, we digress.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about, are these folks? I know you can't tell me a lot. Are they from Pittsburgh? Are they Pittsburgh native folks? Because I was also curious about like what their nationality is, like if they came from a different place and they had a different food culture. But that's where my question comes from.
That's a good question, and I feel like to not give too much away. Generally, yes, the family is from Pittsburgh. There is a person within the family who is
someone married into the family and they're a foreigner. You don't have to. I was just generally wondering about their food culture.
Yeah. Oh. Well, I guess I'm like trying to figure out.
I know that was such a weird dance around whatever you were trying to say. You don't have to. It's fine.
I feel like, I guess a good way to say it is like there are regional vegetables and like preparations, I guess, of food that are not just Pittsburgh, that they do include in their diet.
Okay.
And that also plays into some of the vegetables that I grow, because they're also like good travelers. They've traveled the globe.
So they have lots of different tastes and experience with different foods.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they bring stuff back and say, hey, can you do this pickle or whatever?
Yeah. Different kinds of ferments.
You ferment stuff. Talk about what kind of stuff do you ferment? Yeah.
I guess the biggest thing that I did was apple cider vinegar last year, because we had the most amount of apples that they've ever had. And I can't even put a number to it. It was just so many. I was doing apple stuff for like 2 weeks, making apple butter and stuff. But I did apple cider vinegar. I fermented the garlic scapes. I ferment all the radishes because we just have a million of them, and that's my favorite way to eat a radish.
So I can imagine you have like hundreds of jars of fermented, like you're doing them in crocks and you're putting them in jars and you're just giving them away to people?
Yep.
That's so cool. So you were like the food fairy.
Yeah.
Because a family can only absorb so much of what you do. So.
Yeah. And then it's just
fantastic.
like everyone else around me gets it too.
That's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah. It's nice. It's nice to be able to like have a job that allows me to do that kind of exploration with food, especially because I know, like, I would consider them to be foodies. Like the Noma Guide to Fermentation is a book that I already had but was recommended to me to use, and like that's great. One of the people in the family has sent me seeds from other countries, which is like USDA not okay, but
I was gonna say it might be a little illegal.
Yeah, but like also very fascinating that like they'll be somewhere and be like, oh, I wonder if Lexy can grow this, and like see what comes of it.
That's cool.
It's fun.
That's on the USDA. It's fine. I don't work for them. It's cool. So what is a request that you found interesting or odd or that came from your bosses?
They love sourdough. And like, who doesn't? It's so good. So I had all of last year was like sourdough, having the right starter that tastes the best, and like someone accidentally threw away one of the starters not thinking it was like a starter. Oh, and so that was sad.
Terrible, yeah.
And it's just a whole thing. And so I guess part of the request of having good sourdough is making a certain recipe.
Wait, are you the baker in this situation, or is there a baker on staff?
There is no baker. We all kind of share baking responsibilities. Like the person I mentioned earlier who does the housekeeping stuff, she's super into learning how to do it, and that's been really helpful.
So they don't have a chef?
Sometimes they do. Sometimes if they're here for like a big event or something.
I just found it out that they have a sustainable gardener, but not a chef.
Yeah, usually
That's interesting.
There's a nurse who's always with the family because of like constant healthcare needs. And so that person usually takes on the role of cooking the family's food. And they have like a Rolodex of recipes that they know that they like. So no matter who the nurse is during that month or whatever, they'll know what things to cook. But they do sometimes have a chef. Just depends on like how many people. Like if they're having Thanksgiving or something, they're gonna have a chef.
Do the people themselves cook, or is it? Is that?
This is a great question.
I mean, if they don't have a chef, perhaps they might cook their own food.
Maybe sometimes.
I'm sorry, I didn't even
I don't think often, but the sourdough, that's also part of it, right? Like, we're the people who are trial and erroring how to take care of this one sourdough between multiple people and prepare it in the right way and have it taste the way that is requested. And what's the thing that they have asked me? To grow a lot of like flour to be milled into like so that they can have from farm to table bread in their home. Which I get it. Like that would be great, but I do not have the capacity to do that.
And just out in Saxonburg, you've got Frankfurt Farms.
Yes, there are local, right,
Yeah.
which is like, I know that there's local people that we can, purchasing power of that is also just as good as like us as a farm dedicating it
I can
to
imagine
just
like
growing grain, you know?
And harvesting grain and then processing the grain. It's a lot more work than they think. I mean, it would take you days and days to make a loaf of bread. And maybe more days.
Yeah.
And just
lots of time. And like machinery and the terrain of the acreage is like not suitable for.
Interesting.
Yeah, I feel like a tractor would just slip down the
You
slope.
can't have a tractor. It's just 1 acre, right? I mean,
on the 1 acre, yeah. The 1 acre is not even. It's not.
They wanted to grow fields of grain. Oh, I see.
But even then, like, I understand the logic.
The desire, the idealistic sort of sense of the whole thing. But that is a crop that needs a little more
TLC.
And it's best grown in bulk.
Yeah.
So you nix that. How fast did you nix that? Were you just like, no? Or you're like, let me research.
I mean, I definitely am still like entertaining the idea of like trialing this one quadrant that I have in the garden to be like some kind of
the one that's
grain.
fallow right now, or just with the
Yeah, just leaves.
Oh, it's just leaves. Okay.
Because I think it would be great. Like, I tried growing quinoa last year, and I grew some, but it's not enough to, like, even make a bowl of quinoa. But
Yeah, that's, people don't have a scale when they buy a bag of quinoa, like how much land it took to grow that.
Yes. It's you
they're
can't even...
so tiny.
Yeah, they're minuscule, and, like, I don't even know. I don't even think... I got, like, 1/8 of a cup, and I had, like, a row of plants. Which,
like a 30-foot row?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
For 1/8 of a cup.
Yeah.
So when you're eating your quinoa, folks, just remember 30 feet of crop. Harvest 1/8 of a cup.
Yeah. And the
dry. To be
yeah.
fair, because it expands when it cooks,
yeah.
but still.
Yeah. But I think it'd be cool, like, if I had the right tools. Like, I would try it. I would try it in, like, a big patch. Some kind of grain, just to see what comes of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's buckwheat. You could do flax.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's all kinds of things one can consider.
Yeah. And they like fife berries.
Ooh, I don't even know what those are.
They're like little... It's still grain, but it's got a specific flavor. And, like, buckwheat has its own flavor, too. They're different, for sure. But there's just a specific kind that they would want me to grow. And I think I'm trying to, like, you know, still keep this experiment alive by maybe trying it and showing that it might not be possible at the scale that we're at.
Well, at the same time, not hurting yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's key.
Yeah. I need the
You can't prove a point,
sure.
but yeah. Hurting yourself, that would be terrible.
Yeah.
So fascinating.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, the place I work at is great and the people are amazing, and I guess the thoughts about food that are brought to me are just fun to play with. I think there's just a lot of food systems knowledge, I think, that I bring to the plate, and I think it's nice to be able to be in a position that I can, like, use my knowledge but also their budget to be like, we're gonna make a difference this way in the ways that we can.
And it's continuing your education too.
Yeah.
You're still looking at new things and learning new things. That's
it's
phenomenal.
the best. Yeah. I feel like if I could be a student forever, I would be. And so this, just being in this position has really fed me, because, like, once a year they'll be like, hey, you can use this amount of money to go do something that does further your education. And so they'll always send us to PASA, so that's great.
Cool.
But separate from that, like, last year I did a kind of like a GAP certification. So I guess I'm like a food safety farm manager, I guess. It's
Cool.
like through Penn State. And it was just like training days online about how to process your vegetables safely. But someone on your farm has to be one to be GAP certified, and so I thought maybe that's useful for the future. I don't know.
From Jen Montgomery from Blackberry Meadows was talking about some class she went to, and they were telling farmers, you need to wash your food because there's bacteria on your food that city folks aren't used to, and so if they get that, they're going to get sick. And she's like, no, everybody needs to go eat dirt.
Yeah, yeah.
We need that bacteria. That is part of what, makes our bodies function properly.
For sure.
Was that you remember that from your training at all?
I agree with that, for sure.
Jen's take on it.
Yeah. But in terms of, like, scale and sales, I guess, having clean food is just the most food safe down the line of every person who is coming into contact with it.
Well, clean is a relative term.
Yes.
And they were saying, like, you should sanitize it and get rid of the bacteria on it. So it wasn't about cleanliness or not. It was about the, urban environment versus the rural environment, and how the two cannot.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. It was fascinating.
I don't know.
Well, this is so amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited. I mean, I want to talk to you in like 10 years if you're still at this job, or, you know, in a few years once you're established and it's, you know, you're doing more with it. I'd love to talk with you again about it. But let's talk a little bit about your time at Chatham. In the food studies program, because I did that program as well, as you know, as my listeners know. So tell me about your experience at Chatham in the food studies.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I personally loved it. And I know in my cohort specifically and in future cohorts, there's a lot of discussion about, I don't know if it's like ethics and how students are treated. It's its own conversation. But my personal experience, I guess, I went into it with like, I just really wanted to learn as much as I could about each part of the food system. And so that's what I did. And I didn't realize that that's what I was doing until like the end of my time there. Like, I took a lot of the hands-on classes.
So wait, let's back up for just a second. What was your motivation for going into the food studies program? What made you interested in that?
So my undergrad degree was in anthropology. And so I feel like those kind of go hand in hand, food studies and anthropology. My undergrad professor, Dr. Sutton, he was kind of like my mentor in anthropology, and so I did a lot of my work under him.
And where was that?
Oh, Southern Illinois University, Carbondale. I'm from Illinois, so, SIU. He had noticed that, like, the classes I was taking with him were very, like, social science-y, like, kind of human behavior-esque. I don't know if that makes sense, but he knew Alice, and he does anthropology of food, and so just from taking his classes and having conversations with him, he was like, what, like, you should look at Chatham, like, their food studies program seems very social science oriented, and like, you could really thrive in that. And so he helped me get here because he pointed me the way, and then I met Mim on a tour. Anyway, it was great.
So had you ever grown things before? What is your food background like from home? That sort of thing.
So I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, so I did not have any concept of growing vegetables. Like, fresh produce came from Aldi and Walmart, and that's so normal. And my grandma is from central Illinois, and so, like, once you leave not even an hour vicinity outside of Chicago is like farmland. And so I grew up seeing farmland, but it was all big ag, like cornfield backgrounds, like, and that was my only thought about what growing looked like. And then when I got to Southern Illinois and I started learning about food, I think I was very into like food waste reduction at school. And so I was doing like the campus programs that were like, we're gonna be at the compost bin and like telling you to put your food in the compost bin.
So more along sustainability lines.
Yes.
Not personal.
Not any experience growing food. Not like, I definitely went into it with a more sustainability like mindset. I was the kid that questioned like, where does the trash go? And like my parents not having an answer besides it going
away.
So I had no background. The school I went to was and still is like a pretty big sustainability school. When I was there, they were trying to build a food forest in the like campus forest that was in the middle of the campus, which I thought super cool. So I was doing food waste stuff. I talked with, I guess, Southern Illinois' version of PASA, which is much smaller, and I was really interested in like the farmers market and getting to know all of the farmers. And so I think just having this like dissonance between like what I see in my life growing up as like people don't grow their food too, like going to a place like Southern Illinois where it was prevalent to see like gardens all around the city just like made me really think about what food is and where it comes from, and like I really wanted to learn about farmers, and then that's something that I like brought to my grandma's house to be like, who are the farmers who are doing all of the crops and like corn and soy here. And so all of these like multiple thoughts just came together, and I was at the right place at the right time taking food classes in undergrad to then be like, Chatham seems like a good place to go to learn about this in multiple areas of food.
So I'm sitting here thinking, like, you're young. What year did you graduate Chatham?
2022.
Okay,
yeah.
So a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But it sounds to me like that was after maybe 2 years in grad school.
Mm-hmm.
So 2020 you started grad school. So just a few years before that you were in undergrad. So this last like 7-8 years has been like, what a mind meld you've had. Like, it's such a dramatic change in that chunk of your life that like, whiplash. You have whiplash from like going from buying food at Walmart and Aldi's to now being this sustainable gardener. It's only been 8 years?
Yeah.
7-8 years?
I think
that's huge.
Yeah.
Let's just take a minute to acknowledge how huge that is.
It's always hard for me to do. Yeah, it is.
I mean, your entire worldview has, because I know when you go to Chatham and you're in food studies and you're learning about GMOs and you're learning about food system politics and dynamics and the 5 companies that own all the processed food in the world, like, that is a real mind fuck.
Yeah.
It truly is. And I mean, I know I had a meltdown in grad school. I'm imagining your meltdown must have been tremendous. Yes, we all do, absolutely. But I'm thinking, like, it had to be huge for you because you're all of your basis of your world, essentially. I mean, you had other things in your life, sure, but like when this became a focus, like you dove in and you dove in
hard. Yeah. I think that's what I do. Like, it sounds more intense than it was. Like, I look at it as like a gradual learning. And like, I was vegetarian for 8 years, so that plays a part in it. Before grad school. Yeah, when I was 13, I was like, I'm going vegetarian, and I didn't look back until I was 20. Yeah, 7 years. But that's a lot for a young person to decide.
It is.
And so, like, food being something that I was always cognizant of, it didn't surprise me that, like, I would end up here, I guess. And I don't know, just something about, like, being in a program that has classes that, like, really force you to, like, look at all of these concepts of, like, meat and dairy and organic or not, and like, how are we as consumers? Like, that's the kind of stuff that, like, really it gets my brain going, because I want to learn all of the different sides of it before I make a choice about what I'm going to do. And so back to, like, what class, I guess what
I call that
classes.
food math, by the way. Food math, because you have to calculate all these things. All of a sudden, that's what my meltdown was about. I was trying to buy a pepper in February, and I was like, I just fritzed out.
Like, what do I even
couldn't function. I burst into tears.
Yeah. That, I feel like...
In the store, in the pepper aisle.
What does this pepper mean? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Mine was coffee. And so that was, like, a big focus of, I guess, a theme that I brought to a lot of the classes was, like, how do I took Learning Through Food with Chris, and we had to do different, I don't know, like, mini educational things, because it was all about, like, the pedagogy of food, and mine was about, like, sustainable consumption. Is it sustainable to consume coffee? And that, I think I use...
It's unsustainable to not consume coffee for me.
Every morning I'm going to get up and I'm going to drink it, and I'm going to go to Dunkin'.
Oh, okay.
And I'm also going to buy, like, really good locally roasted organic coffee. Like, the choices that we make have power, but how much power do they have, and how do you let that control you?
Yes.
It's exhausting.
Yes, that's the food map. I love that though. That's one thing I loved about food studies is that everyone was so real. Like you imagine that foodies and people in food studies are going to be like the foodies and they're going to be idealistic and blah blah blah. People are always saying to me like, oh yeah, you blah 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 and food and thinking that I'm all highbrow.
Yeah.
But no, it's like the basic things like the Dunkin'. Like I think McDonald's has pretty good coffee. Not that I support their business model, but whatever. It's a thing. They serve a need, and I'm in this particular privileged space that I could do that and have to-go cups. That's the thing, you know, like. Yeah. It's not all or nothing. It's, you know, whatever balance you find in your life that you can allow yourself to function and not have meltdowns all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're inevitable. But, like, the knowledge that we have gotten is also what keeps us going, I guess. I don't know.
I remember in our cohort, the first semester was really heavy because you're reading all that stuff, and then we're just like, oh my god, Alice, this is terrible. What? She's like, don't worry, there's hope. And then like by the end, we're all just like, where's the hope? Like we never actually. There's like it's. I guess the biggest thing was the realization that this isn't a new thing. It's a new thing that's been brought to our attention in society, and people have started to act on it. But it's not new. Like they've been cutting flour with, you know, dirt for centuries. You know, they've been having contaminated food for a long, long time. People have been holding food from people as a means of controlling the population for a lot, like millennia. You know, it's not anything new.
Humans have existed.
Yeah,
it has always been.
Yeah. So, and to find out that the potato famine wasn't actually like a natural disaster.
Yeah.
Like, oh, so much.
No, it's true. It's mind-boggling, but it's also, I don't know, empowering to be like, these are the things that humans do to one another.
Yeah.
And like, how can we not do that? How can we know the history so that we don't make it happen again?
But who is stopping the history from repeating? It's
not us.
It's really hard. It's
as
really
much
hard.
as we can.
It's really hard. We just get by and get on with what we can.
And that's
how on that positive note,
people exist. You know.
let's not end it there. We got a few more minutes.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
Come on, rally. Okay, so you've had a big learning curve over the past
decade.
Decade. Okay, we'll just leave it at a decade. It's really intense and really cool. Tell me something more about your experience at Chatham.
I think one of the coolest things that we did, well, I guess this is what I do. Back up, brain. We were there during COVID, and that was the hardest thing I think I've ever done.
Did you start during COVID?
We all started during COVID. Like,
oh my God, I didn't even think about that. So, 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
April? No, it would be August.
Yeah.
Sorry, August you started.
Like, I came and visited Pittsburgh February 2020. And then March happened, COVID happened, and lockdown started. And I was like, do I move that far away? Like, duh, because I want to learn. But like, this collective experience that we all had was irreplaceable, because I think being there and meeting each other, not knowing faces, like that in itself is so hard to be. So like,
it was all online.
We were in person. We were all masked and 6 feet apart. And the only times I think we went online was like after break, when they had assumed that people had been traveling and like seeing family and stuff. And when someone had COVID, like, we were all in person the whole time, but we were masked and apart. And that was the hardest thing, like hearing about other cohorts who had like a really great first week, like, experience.
Cooking together and potlucks and stuff.
That.
Yeah.
And we didn't start doing that until later on, like our last year. And even then, it was like my thesis, I did like little cooking workshops with any student who wanted to come at Eaton Hall campus. And like I had to have a blurb about COVID every time to be like, I want you to feel safe in this space cooking with other people, but we have to realize that our reality is not what it should be in a kitchen. And like, I guess like we all had to be super intentional about like what we were doing and who we were seeing if we wanted to go to class and learn and like
it was a real bonkers
do projects. Like, but the coolest thing that I think a group of us did was we got a whole lamb for meats class and we learned how to butcher it together. And like we had to do that masked and we did it without a professional. And then
did you slaughter it as well?
No.
Okay.
We bought it.
Gotcha.
But I mean that even like being around processing facilities and like seeing the inside of how those worked during a pandemic. Like,
where did you guys go? What slaughterhouse did you go to? Was it Jamison's?
Yeah.
It was Jamison's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we went to their house too.
They're lovely.
They were really like helpful, kind, like knowledgeable people who care about their animals. Love that thing. Because being in a food program, things were so focused on food, and I'd like read Civil Eats articles about like how horrible facilities are in any kind of food system manufacturing or like growing operations. But then also realizing that I am like here learning about food and able to do it in a safe way, but still be separate from the people around me, and noticing that like this is my experience in the food system, and then at the same time there's this other starkly different experience happening to feed people, is like that was just something that I think really changed my perception about how people who work in food are cared for or not cared for.
Yep.
And like
really undervalued and underappreciated for sure. Somebody's getting paid.
Yep. At the end of the day, someone is getting paid and people are profiting in poor ways. But we're back to it. It always comes back.
Food studies, the most depressing
but it's not like
major ever.
I don't know. It's just learning about food is special and realizing that like sometimes things just suck, and being okay with that, having to live being okay with that that's just the human experience.
How did you end up with the gig at the dairy? Tell me a little bit about that.
So I took dairy as well. I took a dairy class with Nadine, and we toured the Millie's facility, and my now boss Randy was there in the background, but it was Chad, who is the owner of Millie's, like leading the tour. And I remember I was like hanging back and talking to Randy about like sustainability within her operation, because I was asking Chad the same questions of like, what does sustainability mean to you, and like what choices do you make when you're purchasing like bulk cocoa. But I would ask the same questions to her, and
was he answering them okay? He had good answers?
As much as you can. I think once you are at a big scale like that, it just is harder.
Yeah.
And that, what else can you do? I don't know. Then like do what you can, buy the most amount of bulk cocoa that's organic that you can.
Sustainable,
yeah.
Unless you go down and find a farm and buy all of their cacao. But
so Randy was there, and I remember talking to her. And then when I was graduating, like I was reading my thesis presentation, and I was like, someone asked me, what do I plan to do? Classic question. And I was like, well, I do, like I saw a post that Randy at Twin Brook is hiring, and like I just contacted her and we had an interview. And I think dairy is also something that I'm really interested in, and I worked with the goats, Nadine's goats, and that like was a huge spark for me. And I like look at my socks. I hope to do goat dairy someday, and having the experience in a pretty, it's not the biggest dairy ever, but having the experience that it is to like do the processing side of it is really cool. And now I'm there and pasteurizing, and that's fun.
So pasteurizing is just heating it up to a certain temperature to kill the bacteria, as opposed to the raw.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And making sure everything's sanitized
Before
and
you fill the jugs.
Yeah. And doing chocolate milk is fun. And tasting freshly made chocolate milk, nothing it. It's so good. Yeah. So now I'm there and I'm getting that experience because I feel like, one, the relationship that I have with Randy is really great and we get along. Our brains work very similarly, and I think I have a lot of ambition, and I want to help her, and I want to help that small dairy, like, make it with all of the knowledge that we've, I don't know, learned about, like, how dairy farms have only, it's either you go big or go home, like.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a whole tangent. Dairy in itself is its own thing, and I am extremely fascinated by it, and like I was lactose intolerant for a really long time, and then I took a dairy class and I just kept eating stuff, and now I am okay. And I don't know. Was it a
particular type? Like, did you start eating raw dairy or whatever? No, you just
said
push through
I'm eating it all. Like I'm eating ice cream, I'm eating cheese, and I'm trying everything, and I'm just gonna hope my body is okay, and now it is better.
Did you suffer through?
For a while. Yeah.
You're a trooper.
I wanted to try things. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's great. What was your thesis topic?
It's got a really long title.
I guess, yeah.
They all do, don't they?
Subject.
So I was organizing any students that wanted to be a part of a cooking experience, a recurring cooking experience throughout a semester, to see how their relationships changed to each other, but also to the university, and especially during COVID, like
this is a psychological investigation, it seems like.
Yeah, I did a lot of participant observation and like post interviews. So I led cooking sessions, and I think just back to the COVID stuff, like being there at that point in time was the most challenging thing that students because like there are worse things that students can experience, but like it was hard. And creating community in that time had to be intentional, and
it's such an important part of the program, and my memories of it too is creating those relationships and being in those spaces with those people. So how many people were in your cohort?
Oh gosh, I think we like started at like 18. Not everyone graduated at the same time, but less than 20, more than 10, in between 10 and 20.
Yeah. We had 30 in the very first cohort. It's like more than 1% of the student body of Chatham at the time. The first semester of the program.
Whoa.
It was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It was all women and one guy.
Yeah, because was it still a women's college at that time?
No.
Oh, post.
Well, the grad stuff was a mix. But no, it was just, at the time, and I want to say we were all white women and one white guy, because at the time that was who was in 2010. That's who was at the movement, and also we were the ones that could do it. We had the privilege of knowing that regardless, we'd be able to find a job doing something. Yeah. We could spend the money a little
getting
more
this kind
freely.
of education.
Yeah. I don't know. That's probably a bad way to say it, but that's.
I mean, I feel like it's understanding the matter of the time.
Yeah. It's interesting. And most of us were there because we had read a Michael Pollan book, and Alice hated that.
Yeah. I mean, that's also a place where most people start. Like, people have heard of Michael Pollan. People have read his books, and so...
Oh, she was so mad about it, though.
Understandable. I mean, there's a lot of things that
there's a lot of things wrong with it, but, like, there probably wouldn't have been so many people in food studies had it not been for that general, like, public, journalist approach on things.
Yeah.
Yes, privileged, but whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway. This has been so much fun, Lexy. Thank you so much for meeting me and hanging out here on this beautiful day.
Yes. Honestly, we got, of all the days, we picked the one that's not 90 degrees.
Oh my God, the weather just broke last night. It was phenomenal. Do you have air conditioning at your house?
Yes.
Unfortunately. We do not. Unfortunately. But this is a really great break. I slept really well last night.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's so cool. The wind. Oh.
Nice breezy, yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for talking with me. And
thank you for having me.
I want to keep in touch and hear more about how this farming evolution goes.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was really good.
Everyone knows that food is cool. No secret. Eat that food with a bowl and spoon. Everyone knows that food is cool. No secret. Eat that food.
With Bowl and Spoon is written, produced and hosted by Shelley Danko Day. Original theme song was written and performed by Paul LeBreeze and friends. You can listen to With Bowl and Spoon wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe, like, review and share. Follow us and send us questions or messages on Facebook and Instagram at With Bowl and Spoon. Thanks for listening.